I'm sorry. That's what I heard on my phone call with the CEO of Sabrent or Sabrent. I did a video about a month ago, it might be 3 weeks to a month ago, talking about my horrible experience with Sabrent or Sabrent as they call it, customer service when it came to RMAing a NVMe that I had. I sent it in. You can watch the video. Maybe I'll put a link to it. It was quite a nightmare. I'm not going to cherry coat it at all. I'm not going to brush any sugar on top. It was a horrible experience. I made a video about it and I complained about it. I stand by that and everything I said in that video. And so does Sabrent or Sabrent. I was actually walking through the park with my dogs, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I guess it would be now, and I got a phone call, and it was from the CEO, relatively new CEO. He called me on the phone, and we had a chat, fairly long chat. We also had some email follow-ups as well. He outlined, I guess, his disgust and his sadness over the events that unfolded. Of course, part of that is, he's a CEO. He needs to make sure that his company is represented well. That's kind of his job. But also, he obviously wants his company to do well for personal reasons and for pride reasons. Nobody wants to work for a company where the customers hate you. Right? That's just not something that anybody wants to have. Not just pushing his company forward, making money for the company. Part of that is, you have to have pride and you want to have some pride in your company. So I feel like part of it was, of course, addressing the elephant in the room that is, consumer satisfaction and me putting out a video about poor consumer satisfaction. But I think part of that as well is, he wanted to address that for personal pride reasons, that he's the CEO of the company. So we had a talk and he actually had been working on some revisions to the company already. And in addressing my video, which apparently one of his staff sent directly to him, I guess they kind of had a panic moment and they were like, well, this is a serious issue and this is something that's now on the internet. He basically validated everything that I said, right? He said, this is a major issue. All these things make sense. This is what happened. Fortunately, there was evidence of everything that happened. And he said, there are multiple steps that need to be addressed. First and foremost, I have my new NVMe. Finally, it's been replaced. They sent it to me as part of the process. That wasn't the point of my video. I actually expected to never get it, to be honest, out of that. But it's nice. It's a nice one. We'll put that in my system later, test it out. But yeah, so basically he outlined a multi-step approach that they are taking at Sabrent. I guess he kind of put it forward to really improve specifically the customer service side of it, not the products. The products are always, they're always relatively well reviewed, and generally speaking, they have a good reputation for the quality of the products. I've used many of their things. Never had issues until that SSD, but they did need to address the customer service specifically. Not necessarily, just communication, but specifically the customer service for returns and RMAs. A big issue with that was, communication, how they're addressing the actual complaint, the autonomy and the ability of that customer service agent to escalate, to take the steps needed to move beyond that, rather than just reading out of a booklet that has a bunch of steps that they should follow, being able to say, this is something's not going on here. We need to escalate this a little bit quicker. He outlined multiple steps on the phone call. It was a bit much because I was walking through a park and I said, what, it all sounded great. And I said, what, why don't you send me an email and we can go through them together, me and you, the viewers. Now, of course, I can't say any of this is true. I don't know, but he did seem sincere with it. And of course, no one wants their company to get a bad reputation. And the things that he outlined are all things that he could do to improve the company. And I don't see why he wouldn't anyways. The first one is a standard of common sense. So essentially, I'll just read part of this through. I can put it up on the screen here, but I'll read it as well. If a customer issue arises, especially one related to a product under warranty, and our existing policy doesn't clearly address it, there's no longer an excuse for the customer to simply for the customer support to follow the manual as written if there's a policy gap. So basically, in my case, this is what happened. Part of it was, the product was valid, everything was good to go, but they didn't have it in stock. And to be honest, that product would have never been in stock. And they eventually, after a very long period of time, said, yeah, it's not going to be in stock because it's an older model. I guess it would probably be discontinued, or they just don't make them. So they're probably on shelves, but they're just not making them. And so eventually they did agree to replace it with a newer model, something like this, but they didn't have that in stock either. And so, basically the point of this is the common sense part of it is the customer service representative should not be leaving the product, the consumer frustrated. They should be able to step in and say, Either escalate this or provide a solution, one or the other. Either escalate to someone who can provide a solution or provide a solution. That's common sense, right? You should never have a customer sitting back waiting for weeks, months, many months to get a resolution. Number 2, definitive resolution timelines. This was a very obvious one. When he said that, I was like, well, yeah, obviously, you can't be in 6-month limbo. I can't remember what it was for me, 4 months, 6 months. It was a very long time. It was the summer, basically, of last year. And so basically they want to apply a resolution timeline. So basically, they're going to commit to it at some point, some type of time frame. I don't know what it is. It doesn't say exactly what it is right now, but some type of timeline where there will be a resolution, whatever that resolution is, replacing that product with the same product or something different, equal or higher quality, which is what you'd expect. If you don't have that one, give me the same thing. Oh, you don't have either? Just step me up by one. Just something. Give me something. And so they're basically they are committing to a resolution timeline, which is critical, because this is not the only company I've had this with, but there's other companies, you email them with an issue, whatever it is, and it's just like limbo. You're just like, why is there nothing? Whereas there should be like a website or something, or some type of communication, either written communication or a website that gives you a deadline, gives them a deadline for resolution. This happens with eBay, for example. If I have something with eBay, like I return an item or whatever the issue is, I actually returned something not too long ago. There's nothing wrong with it. I just had a change of mind. I returned it, and they gave a deadline. They said, I don't know, you'll have your refund within 15 days of getting it. So in my head, I say, okay, this is the timeline. I can expect my refund by then. If it doesn't happen, then I can contact them and they can escalate. It's just, there's some substance there of what's going on. You don't just send your product off and then you have no idea what's going on. There's a definitive time frame. It doesn't have to be, a week, right? Nobody's asking for that. Nobody reasonable is asking for that. But what it does need to be is something. It's like, this is an expected timeline, maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks. This is an expected timeline. However, it can go past that. I actually just sent in a Lenovo product for RMA like a week and a half ago, and it's all laid out for me. They told me approximately when it would be, like they gave me a rough timeline. No, they didn't say, it will be done by this time, but here's an approximate timeline. Then they needed to order a part, and they gave me an extended timeline. They said, this is the most likely time that part will arrive to them. And then after that, it will probably be shipped out within a day or two, and I should be able to get it by this much time. It doesn't have to be exactly nailed down. I don't need to get it on those times, but it's giving me a time frame window where I can expect some type of resolution. That's key. Proactive follow-ups. Basically, I shouldn't be emailing you as a customer. You should be emailing me, right? And that's the thing. Again, with the Lenovo thing, I'm just going to use a very positive experience I'm going through right now. They've been emailing me. It's a lot, actually. Every time anything happens, they just email me. It's just an auto email. Oh, and here's this, and here's that, and here's this, right? So I don't even have to check in. It's just, there's just something there. I don't have to keep this on my brain. What's going on with my product, my RMA or my replacement or whatever it is, they're following up. It's just an auto policy, right? That's how it should be. So that's fantastic. Reviewing past cases. Apparently, the CEO has suggested, commanded, I don't know how it works within big corporations, basically to go back and look at past cases. People like me who are in limbo, because I'm sure there are other people potentially, and just deal with it. Ongoing policy evaluation, that's standard, right? That's what every company should be doing. Nothing is, set in stone, right? Policies should change depending on dynamic nature of consumer and corporation or consumer and supplier relationships, right? We're buying products off of them. There's lots of moving parts here, right? That's like they're a company overseas. They're bringing in parts from all over the world, chips from Taiwan or wherever the NAND chips come from. They make them in this facility. Then they have to come over to Canada, RMA. There's just a million moving parts, right? So it's complicated. I get that. And therefore, policies need to be dynamic and they need to change as needed. So you reevaluate, every year or two, there should always be a relatively positive and proactive policy assessment. Maybe nothing needs to change, right? Oh, it's fine. It's working as needed. But you need to do that assessment. Yeah, and then basically we just talked about it in general, what type of things need to be addressed. And he essentially, highlighted that he was obviously very disappointed in the experience, saddened that I went through the experience. Anybody would. Even if it's not you, you're going to be like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, that's unfortunate. But even for him, as the CEO of the company, it's very important that he maintains a positive reputation for his company. Obviously, that's his job, right? Having customers want to shop with Sabrent. That is his job, right? bring money to Sabrent so that his company can grow, shareholders are happy, whatever the corporation structure is, that's the point. To grow the brand, make the brand flourish, that's his job. And you can't do that if your customers are pissed, right? You can't have people like me on YouTube making angry videos. It's not going to work that way. So he basically said, this is something that just can't happen anymore. The company, I mean, they make good products from everything I've read online. I haven't seen, bad reviews in general. And it's easy to sewer that, right? If you have all of a sudden a complete collapse in the after product support. So you buy the product and then, after that, how you're being taken care of as a customer, if it's a 1-year warranty, 2-year warranty, I don't know, whatever it is, just say 1-year warranty. In that 1 year, you should be safe. You should be safe. There should be no collapse in that part of the process there where that customer feels confident to buy your brand. And when they buy your brand, then they feel, confident that, for whatever the lifespan of that product warranty is, I'm good. I'm good. Because if not, I'm just going to buy another brand, right? Like if I'm going to buy, let's say this Lenovo process that I'm going through right now is bad. F that. I'm never going to buy another Lenovo again. Because why? I'm going to buy this high risk product. Like, sure, it could be the best product in the world. Then it breaks and I'm screwed. Not going to do it. I'm just going to buy another brand. But in this case, this is a company that, from what I'm seeing, at least the management, the higher ups in this company, who want the brand to be, top of the class, have not just the best products, right? Not saying they do, or they don't, but they want to have the best products and they want to have the best reputation. Every company wants that. That's the dream, right? Have the best products and everybody loves you. So everyone just throws money at you. That's the corporate dream. And I support that. I mean, that's how our system works. And if you're able to if you're able to adjust your company based on consumer feedback, that's what we need here. I guess I'd say pro-capitalist, but I am pro in the sense that you need to use your voice and vote with your wallet. It's critical. That's the only way the system works, if you vote with your wallet. So if we, as content producers, creators, we will call it, on a platform like this, and you as consumers, we're able to go out there and say, this is not where I want to put my money. And this is where you should maybe not put your money, into bad actors. Bad actors in the corporate space should not get our money. That's how the system stays healthy. So if we are able to pull our money back from the bad actors, move it towards good actors, that rewards good behavior from the corporations, that punishes bad behavior from the corporations. In this case, from what I'm seeing here, the proactive, or I guess it's retroactive, the retroactive approaching me and working on this, but then the proactive approach that they are implementing going forward, that's a positive thing. So I'm willing to, where I was clawing back my consumerism, I think, at this point, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least in the short term, and say, what? If you're willing to, work with me to communicate with the viewers and potentially, really revitalize your program here, revitalize how you address customers, this is a very positive thing. And this is the type of behavior that should be rewarded as consumers. This is the type of behavior that I'm willing to put my money into. And I think you're taking the right steps to do that. Maybe you already did. I don't know. It's been a couple weeks since we talked. But all the steps outlined here I think are fantastic. So good job, Sabrent. A lot of companies would completely ignore a video like what I did. I've made videos complaining about companies before and they don't give a damn. Whatever. You did. So congratulations. Good stuff. Keep it up. I'm going to stick your SSD in my computer, and you know what? Maybe I'll even use it as an operating system drive. I'll take that leap of faith with you guys. So that's the video. Thanks again.